Hello, hello, welcome to Waifus of Overwatch. My name is Erin Fitzgerald, and my co-host is...
Danielle, hey, how you guys doing?
Woohoo! Here we are again! This is our 1-year anniversary of doing this podcast, and for you, our loyal listeners, we bring you a gift. Our two favoritist, closest, most Overwatchiest Overwatch characters, the actual actors, Darin De Paul and Keith Silverstein. I almost said Kill Silverstein.
Till Silverstein.
No.
Kill him.
Kill
It's
him.
not just a name, it's a command.
It's a command.
It's everything you want in a name.
And if you don't know, Darin De Paul plays Reinhardt, my waifu, and Keith Silverstein plays Torbjorn. If you watch my streams, I play a lot of Torbjorn. And Danielle kills at Torbjorn and also stands behind a lot of Reinhardt.
Yes. Oh, yes.
All about that Reinhardt shield, right? Yeah. Awesome.
And just to be clear, it was a year ago that we did our first interview?
It was
crazy.
August 20th. A year ago, and this podcast is releasing on August 20th, 2017. I'm not in a million
crazy.
years that I think we were going to do this for a whole year. Did you, Danielle?
No, not at all.
Like, I kind of thought, like, oh,
It's
this will
fun.
be fun for a minute, but I didn't think it would actually keep going. And seriously, like, if you listen to the early podcast, you guys know that Danielle and I really just started the podcast to give us an excuse as to why we were playing so many hours of Overwatch daily. And we just got to brag a little bit. A year later, and my girl Danielle is gold. Gold portrait. So
The
I'm
Overwatch
impressed.
addiction is real.
the
It's
Overwatch
real.
addiction is real. But we have a podcast, so we can write it off. So it's business.
Exactly.
It's business, Danielle. Gold rating is business.
Yes.
Woohoo. I am not gold. I am level 300 a year later. You're welcome.
You'll get there.
I'll
Ooh,
get
that's
there.
way better.
I'm
Better than
working-
me. Way
You're-
better than me.
You're getting up there, though, Keith. You're on more
No.
and more.
Yeah, I'm like on maybe 40 or something like that.
Okay, yeah. One of our squad members, Mark DeChoco, finally hit 100, and we're like,
Yes.
and he's the world's best Mercy. So he just doesn't get on enough because he works so much. And I know that's the same for you and Darin. You guys have been working so much. And Darin, you don't have a PlayStation 4, do you?
Do I have a PlayStation 4?
I love that you're
Yes, I
asking
do.
Deborah.
I don't. I never got it for me for Christmas, and I played a couple things. And like you said, it's been so busy that I haven't been able to do anything.
Oh my God, why have I to come over to your house to drink wine and play Overwatch? We need to do that. I feel like that's something we should do. If you have a
I
PlayStation.
played for charity with
that's
Matt Mercer
That's right.
earlier this year, and that was like the only time I've actually played a game this whole year, except for some Diablo. It's just been so busy, which is wonderful.
Yes, it
It's
is.
been crazy how Overwatch exploded and just the community behind it and all the just love that it's gotten. We thought that people would like it. We did not know that it would be this much love, and it's overwhelming.
Do you concur, Keith Silverstein?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy actually. I've really never seen anything quite like it.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because,
Let's
I mean,
talk
seriously,
about
I've
it.
never seen a game cast get so tight. Like, you guys aren't even in the same city, and y'all are tight and hanging out with each other whenever you can see each other in different cities. Like, that is something it's completely different from other games I've been on. I mean, there's games that, I'm on with Keith or I'm on with Danielle, and we all get together every once in a while, but this Overwatch family is seriously tight.
Yeah,
We've been
there's
lucky.
been a few get-togethers, and then we run into each other at cons a lot. I think a good chunk of the cast are doing convention appearances.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we get the chance to bump into each other, we try to take advantage of hanging out a little bit. It's just been crazy. I've never seen. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know the game's really popular, but there's a lot of really popular games out there. But for some reason, maybe because there's like 26 of us. I mean,
No, it's just better
not a-
characters. It's the best characters ever created. There's a reason why we
I
created
know.
the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
well, the character, yes, but I mean, for us, I mean, it's more than us. I mean, it's this. The game is huge and everything. It's just this extra special
But the
thing
game
where
is huge because of you guys. Like, I don't think you really
That's
have
too much credit.
captured that. I think you're used to being part of the ensemble so much that you don't realize the impact that the actors of Overwatch and the brilliant casting of Blizzard has done for this game. Like, the time that they've taken to pick the exact right souls to embody these characters, I think that is, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, look, the popularity of this game is because we love and have fallen deep in love with the characters, and that's on all of you guys.
And also, there's a lot of heart in this game, so I think that's what's attracting people to play this game. So it's fun, but you feel that sense of like a lot of love and care put into a game like this. That's kind of what I feel when I play it.
Well, it is. I mean, it's about community and it's about a team. And I know that we feel that we're part of a much larger team with the wonderful writing that's done and the wonderful design. How there's so many different things, and it's just so much fun to play.
It is.
I think we're just lucky to be part of it. And a lot of us come from theater, so it's kind of getting together as a theater cast would. And I know that I got to see Lucy when I was in New York, and we had a wonderful dinner, and I'm just trying to catch up with everybody that I can because, you know, we sit around and discuss the amazing world that this has become.
Exactly. And it's going to keep going. I mean, we're still doing this
Hope
podcast a year later. This sucker's going to keep going. That's amazing.
I think with the demand this game's getting, I know it's going to go pretty far. It's going to go very far.
Now that it's going to be, you can be a professional gamer, like esports, forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about it. It's done. You guys got work for the next 30 years. You're welcome. Thank you, Overwatch.
Maybe I should be a professional gamer, too. That sounds fun.
I'm telling you, you've got the time. Build up the chops.
I know. I gotta get on more often. I got to.
You got to.
I will say that when I heard about Saw's casting as Doomfist,
did you ever know Saw? Because you're from New York. Did you ever know him?
I didn't know him, but there is a story. I was doing the New York Musical Theater Festival, and I was doing a musical above Fela off Broadway. So I was in the theater above Fela.
Wait, we gotta slow down for people who don't know.
Fela,
thank you.
Fela Kuti is a South African activist, and Saw had written and starred in a musical about him. And it was absolutely brilliant. He won the Tony, and it was a thrilling piece of theater.
And the name of the actor who plays Doomfist is Saw Ngaujau. So just so you guys know, if you guys didn't already know, Saw Ngaujau is the actor who plays Doomfist and the actor who was the lead in this Broadway show, Fela. Please continue.
It was a thrilling piece of theater, and I'm so glad that Andrea Toyas had seen it and she remembered him. And we're talking maybe 2007.
That's she's like a freaking catalog of keeping her favorites in her brain.
And I used to hear the music, drifting up as we were getting ready, and then when my wife and I saw it, it was fabulous. And you go, this man is just electric. And then when I found out that he was Doomfist, I started to tear up, and I texted Andrea Toyas going, I'm so proud to be in this company of actors because they're so fine, and they really, really care about the characters and what they're doing with the performances.
I love that a bunch of actors had to get into a video game who, like, y'all from New York to work together. You had to get into a video game to be in the same performance universe. I think that's really funny and kind of beautiful.
Well, it's hard. It's hard in New York. There are. We've talked about it before. In theater, you're kind of in your box. If you look a certain way, that's what you're going to do. Like my wife would always tell me. Well, they'd go, Deb goes, you look like an accountant, but you sound like a monster when I do your voice. And
come be in our video game.
Exactly. In video games, they get that. In theater, it's like, you do too many things. I don't understand you, so you'll be, an understudy or in the ensemble.
Right.
But in video games and voiceover, especially for animation and commercials, like everything that you do, we love it. We love it. Do more. Take chances. Take a risk. And everybody's doing that in Overwatch. You're seeing just some wonderful, smart, thrilling, heart-filled performances.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I love how Keith looks. And then looking at Torbjorn and then thinking about how Keith looks, it makes me giggle for hours. Just like
Because we look exactly the same. Is that what you mean?
nothing alike at all. You're like
You don't
a
think so?
super handsome young man, and Torbjorn is a dwarf from Lord of the Rings.
You know, I heard somebody told me he's not a dwarf.
I know he's not, but I think that he looks like one. So, and he sounds Swedish. So,
Erin, can you say super handsome young man again? What did you say? What was that?
Super handsome young man.
Oh, you could stretch out the young.
Super
Awesome,
handsome
thank you.
young man.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Now, wait a second. Are you saying that my dear friend Keith Silverstein is a super handsome young man?
Why, yes, Darin De
This is
Paul,
the best
I am saying
interview
that
ever.
Keith Silverstein is a super handsome young man.
Agreed and seconded.
I can die happy now. This is wonderful.
I think
What a
we're gonna
wonderful
have to label this episode like 1 year anniversary / super handsome young man.
What? Yeah, good. Sold. I love it. Fantastic. Thank you,
Super
Paul.
handsome young
Thank you.
waifus.
Thank you and good night.
Yes.
Good night. We should really start the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, right. What were we here to
Really
do?
start
Oh,
recording.
this is seriously just a conversation with really good friends, which is kind of the point of this. Like we when we started it, and Darin, you were our very first guest on the very first show we did. And it was because, you know, Darin and I know each other. We met for the first time because of World of Warcraft, and he played Blackhand and I played Ural. And it took a few Blizzard parties before we got to know each other, and then we fell in love. Not in, like, romance love, but in, like, that whole, oh, my God, kindred spirit love. And then it was so, when he booked this gig, I was like, this is perfect. I totally adore Darin and Deborah, which is Darin's wife. And I would love, and then Darin was so, you were so kind, and we're like, me and Danielle have been addicted to your game. Would you do our podcast? And you did. You did.
Just sharing the love, just like we have shared the past 2 Thanksgivings.
Yes.
Aww.
And hopefully this year if you're not in New York.
I think we're going to be. We've been bopping back and forth. We were just last month, or in June, we were in New York. We had tickets for Hamilton for 9 months, and then we wound up seeing 6 other shows and being home.
Wow.
And I just, I love living in New York, and I miss it a lot. But we still have our place, so we bop back and forth, and Deborah goes back and forth much more than I do. But
Right.
if
Sounds
I
great.
had, well, if I hadn't taken, it's 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, that we took this chance and went, let's just try Los Angeles
Isn't that
and see
amazing?
what happens.
Oh, I'm
And
so
we'll-
glad.
Darin,
you
how's
did.
it worked out for you?
I guess okay. And it's all due to Andrea Toyas. I mean, my agents at Atlas were wonderful, but Andrea Toyas was the first person to say, you're not going home. And she really believed in me. And Blizzard has a very special place in my heart. I'm always like,
Yeah.
anything for them. They
Yeah,
are
definitely.
responsible for what I am doing. Getting to do some of the best work I've done in my career.
Right.
This character, who's kind of like my dad's voice, elevated, it means so much to be able to share the joy that I have in the booth and know that Keith and I are really good friends in the game.
Yes.
I love that.
Keith,
I
are
know
you
that
in,
is
are
very
you
cool.
in a bunch of other Blizzard titles? Because I'm just going to assume you are, like everybody else.
Yeah, Hearthstone and Warcraft and StarCraft 2 and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. A little bit in Diablo.
Yeah. Danielle
And
was
how
in
did we-
Warcraft.
How did we meet, Keith Silverstein?
What?
Say that
Do
again.
you remember how we met?
Keith Silverstein. do you
Did we meet
remember?
on Warcraft? Was it Warcraft?
Oh, we met doing zombie sounds.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I
For
I thought it was the Warcraft movie doing Walla for that, but it was
Scouts
what
Guide
was
to the
that? Zombies,
Apocalypse.
a Boy Scouts Guide to the Zombie. What
The
was that
zombie
movie?
Apocalypse. Oh yeah, Boy Scouts Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
That's that was it, right? That was the movie.
Yeah. That was
Yes,
the movie.
yeah.
First day we met, and we had to do crazy, crazy, crazy zombie sounds all day,
All day.
at Paramount, and it was
Golly.
so much fun. And we just got close ever since then.
Yay,
Yeah.
Destiny.
That
Yay,
was-
zombies.
See, it's a
It
waifu
was-
husbando love match. Shipping.
I
I don't care. You can fight it out. Who's the waifu?
waifu.
I don't care.
That was a very
Heart.
tiring session. I remember it. Yes.
I bet it was.
Oh,
it was.
whew. There was a lot of like, okay, we've got a 8-minute scene. We guys just are going to keep doing zombie sounds the entire time. Go for it.
I
Can you
have
guys give us a
actually
little
that
sample
video.
of your zombie sounds? Like, I don't know what that would sound like. I have no idea. I mean, if you haven't ripped your throat up today from work and you feel like it, give us some zombie juice.
Hey, welcome to
Wow.
Zombie Sounds with Darin and Keith.
That was
There's a wonderful film of us going around in a circle with Steve Bloom and Patrick
God,
Seitz and
I
a bunch of
love
other
that.
people being zombies and just passing by the camera and going blah and just screaming.
That's the best. I find
Nice.
that I spit a lot when I'm zombies or any kind of infected being. Like, I'm basically, the front of my shirt is soaked from all the liquid that comes out of my face.
Oh, we would drink a lot of water because it really
Yeah.
helped with the gurgling. There was
Yes.
one I did that
Yes.
didn't have a jaw, it was just a tongue. And it was a very wrong film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had to attack people, and Steve Bloom was like, "Okay, make it juicy." He just did a lot of water and started
Oh,
doing
yeah.
stuff. So, well, he's
Beauty.
tongue zombie.
Okay, so when Darin got his start through Blizzard, and Keith, you've been around a long time. Like, since I've lived here, we've been in video games together forever and ever and ever. And
Yeah.
I know we talked about it in your interview, and I believe you were our second interview. Isn't that right? Weren't you our second show? I think you were
Sure,
our
I think so.
second show.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like
Danielle,
you
what do
were.
you think?
So.
Because we stuck with the humans we know and love, and I'm pretty sure you were. That's why you were on this
Yeah.
podcast, because
Yeah, he
I
was.
guess that you were I'm like, I think it was Darin and Keith. We're gonna have Darin and Keith. Also because
that makes
we
me-
love you.
Erin, that makes me want to put you on the spot. When did you cross over from humans you know and love to those you don't?
To the people I don't know, so I don't know and
Oh.
love them yet until.
I see.
Yeah, so I think, who was the first stranger we interviewed? I think it was Josh Peterson was the first stranger where we
Yeah.
we didn't
Oh,
know
okay.
him.
Petersdorf, Josh
And then-
Petersdorf.
Petersdorf,
So-
that's it. Thank you, Josh Petersdorf. And then by the end of the interview, we were madly in love with him, and then we
Yes.
knew
Wonderful.
him. But it took like a
Yes.
whole interview before you know somebody.
His voice is incredible.
I know.
My
I
wife
mean-
is heading out to dinner and just wants to say goodbye.
Oh, bye, Deborah. We love you.
Bye.
Deborah, hi and bye.
Go kill it in your new show.
Just say goodbye, Deb.
Goodbye.
Hi, good luck.
I'm so glad I got to say hello and goodbye for a second.
It's good to hear your voice.
Always.
I'm going to be in trouble for making her do that very awkward goodbye.
No, it's perfect, and we love it. It's going to be animated, maybe. You never know with the Fanimation.
Oh, you know it's gonna be
Yeah,
animated.
because not every interview gets Fanimated. Tick is very particular. It has to be entertaining for him, like entertaining in a silly kind of funny way for him to entertain. Because the serious interviews, he's like, no, I can't animate that. That would be rude. Because he's British. He's lovely. So what I was saying, Keith.
Nothing to aspire to.
Now it's
Yep.
a year later. It's a year later since we interviewed you, and it was still kind of new when the game hit, and you were like, oh, we're just riding off the high of it being a new game. But now that it's a year later and everything is freaking cuckoo nuts, everybody's losing their mind for every new Overwatch anything. Has your career changed in any way, having been a part of this title? In a good way. I'm hoping it's in a good way. I want these to be nothing but really good things.
No, it's definitely been good. There's been some serious notoriety for it. I mean, a lot of people seem to know, like, they know Overwatch, of course, and they know I played Torbjorn. The cons circuit has been insane. I mean, that's, I think, where I've noticed it the most because that's where I'm interacting with the fans.
Right, because you were going to cons before for all of the other
I
stuff.
sure was.
So it's
Yes.
different. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit because that's interesting to me.
Yeah, it's very different. I kept going to cons, and more people were coming up and going, "Are you Torbjorn from Overwatch?" And and that would happen every once in a while.
Right,
and
because
then
you
it
would
was
think
a
you're
lot.
like, oh, I'm just for the other games and the other stuff. Right.
Well, I had everybody, I've got my banner and it's got a bunch of different characters on it and stuff, but more and more it was all about Torbjorn. It just grew and grew and grew, and I was like, you know what? This is getting pretty big after a few different locations, and that kept happening more and more. And now that's the obviously the main draw. I mean, I still get people for, other characters that they love, of course, but Overwatch is by far the main draw, and the people that usually get the most excited too. So, and the fan base.
Yes.
Man, the fan base, like they give gifts and hugs and it's an amazing fan base. People are so into this game in a great way, and it's all great people.
Amazing.
Oh, the cosplay is amazing.
Yes.
It's giving me life, all the cosplay. I have to say, I think
different
it goes.
skins.
Yeah, I think it's because of what Danielle said. I think it's because the game has a lot of heart, so it attracts heart people. You know, I feel like even while we play the game, there's always like you can always tell the Call of Duty players, and now we're getting the Street Fighter players because of Doomfist. But that wears out. Like eventually, those players they don't stick with the game. They got to go and do their murdery flanky stuff in a game that's more murdery flanky because they don't like to be so much team members. They like to be on their own and do all the murder themselves. And like Darin mentioned, this is a team game. This is where you co-work. You work together for an objective. You do it as a team, and the better your squad, the higher your ranking. So I think that's why you guys have such lovely humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
That's probably a good point.
I will say, speaking of conventions and speaking of heart, you were there at San Diego Comic-Con on Thursday. Was that right?
I was there on just Thursday.
I wish you had been there Friday because the Blizzard panel was Friday. The behind the scenes of Doomfist, and I went just to attend to go. Well, this is my team.
Right.
I'm gonna join, and we wound up. 4 of us wound up. For me, it was my very first Make-A-Wish. We did a Make-A-Wish for 2 young boys.
Oh, yay!
Oh, that's wonderful.
Please talk about that.
I just kept going. I wish I could have done more. It meant so much. They came and sat, and then we went backstage with them.
How old were they? What was going on? Give us backstory, Darin.
I don't want to say too much because I don't know what I can say, but
Right.
I would say probably about 9 or 10. They're very young boys with their family, and they were really, really sweet. And there was a Doomfist cosplayer, an official Doomfist
He was
cosplayer.
gorgeous.
And we
he
got
was
pictures with him, and one of them sat in front of me during the panel, so I would lean forward and whisper Reinhardt lines. And Reinhardt he did not stop smiling, and we had all sorts of gifts for them. We got the sign, and it was. I think it was probably. I texted Andrea twice when I think this is the best thing I've ever done in my career because to affect someone in that manner and to change a life so much. It's like I'm just a mouth stupid that got lucky, but it means so much. Well. But it means so much to people, and to share
it does.
in love that way. It was really
does.
special. And I wish it would have gone on longer. I wish we could have.
Well, ideally, you're going to have a lot more of that kind of experience now, because now it'll start, making bridges between Make-A-Wish and Blizzard, because again, this game reaches out to a younger audience, which is probably unlike the other games. They're a little bit more grown up, and this one's a little bit more age friendly and all around the board friendly. So you guys will get a lot more of those, I'm imagining, as the time
definitely
continues. Yeah. That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I wish I could have hung out longer and experienced that too. It sounds wonderful. Sounds like it would.
Well, you went to another one, Keith. You were at another convention.
Yeah, I had to get to Portland, so I mean, I only had I was signing for a while with Anjali and Charlotte, and then I had panels for Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, so I had a panel for that and a signing for that. And as soon as my last panel, I had to get out of there and get to my flight.
Wow.
So I wish I could have stayed longer. I mean, it would have been a lot of fun, but I mean, I had some more fun to go as well. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, I did not know. I was there with Warner Brothers Games for Shadow of War, the Mordor game.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just wound up, because you want to see what's happening with Overwatch because you love it so much. And I wound up going to the big cosplay meetup, and it's really thrilling when you see all the love and care that everyone's putting into it.
So true.
It's sort of a mirror into the love and care that Blizzard has for this game and this world.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Blizzard is killing it. I am so grateful for this game. It has made what would have been a very challenging year for me much more enjoyable. It has given me life. Thank you, Blizzard.
Yeah, they don't mess around. Blizzard. Every game that Blizzard has is arguably the best of that style game.
Right. It's so true.
And that goes to show just the care and the detail they put into everything. I mean, they won't put it out if it's not that high of a level of quality.
Danielle,
it's amazing.
How many of the Blizzard games have you played personally? I feel like you're like the professional gamer in our family here.
This is actually my first one. I was afraid to play World of Warcraft, and my sister played that, and I started calling it Warcrack for her because you would spend every day. She would not, like, she would just be glued on it.
How ironic.
And so, yeah, so this was like my very first Blizzard game I played. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny to me now, because that's all we do. Are you on?
Yeah.
Are you on? Are you on now? Are you on now? No, I'm not on now. I'm going to be on. I'm at the gym now. Are you going to be on later? Are you going to be on? I'm going to be on. That is our text. That's literally, if you read me and Danielle's text, and then every once in a while podcast. But mostly, are you on? Are you on now? Are you going to be on? Are you coming on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It's absurd. It's been really fun, actually, because I've noticed, like, I have a lot more... the more I show up... I guess everybody knows I play Overwatch now, so I'm showing up to sessions, and people are like, hey, you play Overwatch, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, I play Overwatch, too. Add me. So now I'm getting more work people on my... Like, I'm playing with more work people on... Like, I play with my squad, too, but let's be real, my squad is, like, 1,000 levels higher than me. So when I need to practice at getting better, I play with people my level, and those are generally the people I work with, so they're starting to come on more, and I think that's hilarious. Like, I went to the gym and I saw someone, and they're like, oh, I was thinking about Overwatch today, it made me think of you, and I'm like, that is hilarious. My addiction is out of control, that everybody knows that I am playing this game all the time. Like, people ask me questions just because I happen to have a lot of information.
Yeah, let's be honest. You know the answers. You answer the questions.
I do.
No.
Oh, and if I don't, I text Danielle.
Exactly. And for me, I had a couple of sessions recently where one of my sessions, we're getting all like set up and everything, mic'd up, and the engineer was coming up to me because I put up a lot of my play of the games on Twitter and everything.
Because you get a lot of them. Yes, you do.
Yeah, and I do a lot with Widowmaker, and they actually asked me, like, they whispered in my ear, could you, like, teach me how to play Widowmaker? You play it really good. It's like, okay, all right.
I also want to mention, Danielle, like, since Danielle's gotten Gold Portrait, after every match she plays, she gets hate mail from all the other players.
So much. It's too much of
Wait,
it.
what?
This is
like,
thing.
so...
I didn't know.
So I get a lot of hate mail, and I was kind of afraid to go the Gold Portrait because I knew it was going to equate to more hate mail.
I don't
and
know
usually that
I
is,
wouldn't have thought that.
I just knew it because like with hate mail, it's usually like, how dare you shoot me in the head with your Widowmaker, how dare you be this good. So it's more of like people kind of complimenting you and saying they hate you afterwards.
Compliment.
Okay.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
dare you use your Torbjorn turret and murder my face off.
Yeah, that's not the worst kind of hate mail.
No.
Yeah.
But if you're getting, a little bit of hate headed your way, don't worry, my friend. I am your shield.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you are my waifu.
Oh, okay.
Aww.
I was just playing with you the other day. I hadn't played with you in a while because I've been really stretching out, trying to learn new characters and try to get better at them. Doomfist is killing me. I am no Street Fighter player.
I love him so much.
So because of Doomfist, I'm like, the only thing that I will stay alive with a Doomfist on the other team is my Reinhardt, because he can come at me and at least in one punch, he doesn't kill me. It's that, as a healer, one punch Doomfist and I'm dead. But one punch and I'm Reinhardt, we bounce off of each other a little bit. I'm like, ooh, I got another 5 seconds. I got to think of something else.
Well, what would you guys like to see next in the game? And Keith, help me out here too. I mean, do we need more healers? Do we need more tanks? What do you guys feel that Overwatch, the next surprise, should be?
Oh my god, I feel like we've been given so much. I feel like it might be rude to ask for more. I really love I love the themed, like the Halloween gameplays and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I really I love new maps. I feel like we need new maps constantly. I love new skins and new voice, like we need more new voice lines. And I love that we've gotten a bunch more, but we need even more. Like, there's not enough voice lines as far as I'm concerned. I would love to see actual cinematics where we see in the game, like where we could
Oh,
actually
wow.
see more,
That would be cool.
or because when we get to a new map, it would be great to like be like, here's a cinematic, or instead of a skirmish, you know, like here's a cinematic. Like, let's learn about the characters more. That interests me. I mean, I'd have no idea what they could possibly give us that would be. But I'm also not a very experienced first-person shooter person. I bet the squad would have some great ideas. But I do want Doomfist to be nerfed, though. Seriously, like, dude needs to be nerfed.
He's gonna get nerfed.
He's a little bit superpowered. It's too big.
They'll take care. Blizzard will keep an eye on it. They'll nerf him if it has to happen.
They'll adjust.
Yeah.
But here's what I think. What do you think?
Here's what I'm looking forward to, and this is purely speculative. So just because I work on the game, trust me, I know.
They tell us nothing.
You guys know more. Exactly. You guys probably know more.
We
than
do
me.
know more than you. You're welcome.
Yes, because you read all the comics and all the extra stuff and everything.
Right.
So I want to preface that this is just me just speculating like anybody else would.
Okay.
So we've had these downloads where it's either like a holiday thing, like a seasonal type of thing. We've had like a flashback to the past kind of a thing to do an old mission from back in the day.
Yes, that was amazing.
So
that was great.
Because
we have
both you
we have so much
and
more to learn
Darren.
about these characters. And what I think is going to be cool, obviously they're going to give us a little more about the characters here and there. But what I can't wait for is I feel like at some point they're going to have to like have a major world-changing event. Something happens that actually changes maybe the alignments of some characters and what the world looks like, and that kind of, that's what I think is going to make people go crazy.
Oh my God.
I would love that.
Because it made
I mean,
me
can you
crazy
imagine
when
that?
they bashed up the Numbani map. Like, now that the Numbani map is just a smashed mess after Orisa got released, and I was like, oh no, when are they going to fix it? It's so ugly now. I want it to be pretty. But I have a feeling, like, you're right, like, it's going to go more to, there's going to get a lot more destruction in the game so that it has a place to go. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, Mr. Silverstein.
I feel like with the route the game's going, it is going, like, a very Marvel direction. Like, it seems like it's going in a different path altogether.
Are there any characters that you wish that they had, like, that they would create, Danielle? Like, you play so many more video games than me. I feel like you would.
I don't know. I want them to surprise me. Like,
I'm not disappointed by the surprises.
I love surprises, especially with a game like this. Like, but I'd love to see more animatics.
Yes.
I love watching those, like the Bastion one and everything. I'd love to see more of those.
It would be really fun for them to create a character for Terry Crews, since he so desperately wants to be in the game and was not the right person for Doomfist. But it would be fun to see him get something.
I did meet him, and he was really lovely at Comic-Con.
Yay!
Matt Mercer and I met him.
Was he a fan of yours? Because I bet he was.
He was. His son was there, and he said he had bonded more with his son playing Overwatch. And so Matt was waiting to go on for a Critical Role panel, and I had just been on Critical Role.
Right.
And I was a big fanboy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Terry Crews. We should say hello. There's his son. And he was so charming and so lovely and just a big fan of the game. Yeah. And it was a thrill to meet him.
So it would be, I would be super happy if they created a character just for him. Like, it would not be, I mean, I know that he's a super huge star, and it's weird to have somebody super famous already to be in the game, but he's just so adorable, and that he's already made a campaign to, the only thing that keeps him from being Doomfist is that he can't do the accent, really, so, you know, and let's be real.
Well, he was there to promote another game that he's doing, so I think he's really getting into doing voices for games.
He's building himself up so that
he is.
Blizzard hires him. I'm totally with you, Terry. I'm totally with you. We want to see you in our game. We'll get there eventually, I'm sure, because they're just brilliant. They're brilliant at their character creation. Yeah,
they are.
Mad.
Well, you were talking about the Halloween event, and
so much. I hope there's another one. Oh my gosh!
I think they're going to bring that back.
I know that this is going to be released in the mysterious future, but today I worked with Andrea Romano,
and she directed the one last year.
She directed the Halloween event with me, and she's the one that said, you know, Reinhardt's very big, but let's have him sitting at a table. There's a candle. He's talking to one person. Right. So when I narrated that was her beautiful direction, and I also worked with her on the Uprising event.
Which was also gorgeous.
Yeah, and she's just so wonderful. And today I worked on. She is retiring from after many, many years of, directing Animaniacs and Batman the Animated Series and, fighting for Mark Hamill as the Joker and Kevin Conroy as Batman, she's retiring tomorrow. And I got to work with her on one of her...
Well, it won't be tomorrow by the time the podcast airs, but yes.
It won't be tomorrow. It will be...
in August. She has retired in August.
Yes.
I got to work on her penultimate session, and that was a real thrill. And I came...
That's amazing, yeah.
Well, because she so inspired me, and I always would wonder, will I ever get to work with someone of that caliber?
Yeah.
And Overwatch gave that to me, and then I got to do animation with her for other projects.
That's
but
so beautiful.
It started with her directing me on Overwatch, so it's
well,
very,
it
very
really
special.
actually started with you being so incredibly talented that you would impress everybody that you work with. So, boom.
Yes.
Here's the
Take
thing,
it,
and
take
this is I it's lovely that everyone says, but coming from New York theater and knowing how many wonderful actors are there, and how many wonderful actors have come here to Los Angeles and come home in 6 months, because it's so hard to break in.
It's the same for everybody around the world. Like, the best talent on the whole planet moves here, and they're brilliant. I have to say, when people move here, I'm like, it's not about how talented you are, because you throw a stick and everybody here is ridiculously talented. It's how are you going to stand out, what opportunities you get, and how you make the most of them. And I noticed that one of the biggest things that makes people successful is about whether or not you're enjoyable to work with, because that's a deciding factor. If everybody's equally talented and brilliant, who is a love ball and makes you laugh and makes you really enjoy being at the job? Those are the people that get hired again and again, because you're really enjoyable to work with. It's the small things that make those decisions,
Yeah.
What makes a good session for you, Keith? I mean, what thrills you when you go in?
Yeah, good question.
Oh, there's so many elements. I mean, honestly, I'm thrilled to work, period. I'm thrilled with who I get to work with. So if there are other actors there I haven't had the chance to work with yet, or that are friends of mine, a director that I either enjoy working with or have always looked forward to working with. I'm a total nerd in terms of like pop culture, so I get excited because it's a Transformers thing, or it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing, or you know what I mean? Whatever it is, I always find a reason to be incredibly excited about almost everything.
You're fanboying
I do.
at every gig, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
At least internally. Internally, I'm like, oh my God, this is a Star Wars thing, or this is a. So I always find a reason to get excited. I just love what that I'm able to do this job. I just feel so lucky. So.
Well, I think that also helps us when we meet the people that love Overwatch so much. We're like, well, we're fans too.
Exactly.
We love this world and we love these characters, and it's just such an honor and a joy to be part of it. How did we get so lucky? And and people they'll cry and they'll shake, and you're like, no, we're just people.
Yeah.
Thanks for loving what we love doing. It means the world to us, really.
Exactly.
It is. That is kind of the weirdest thing, and I think that's been a lot with the Overwatch thing. I've noticed that the last whatever number of cons that I've been to is like, you go for the picture with someone and they put their arm around you and they've got that like nervous shake, and you just, it's such a weird thing, and you're just like, no. I'm like you said, you're just like, hey man, I'll like give a big hug or something, be like, hey, this is totally cool, let's do this. Because it's so weird to me, because I'm just like, you have no idea, like it's just weird. I don't even know how to deal with that, except to like give them a big hug and make them feel comfortable.
It's very surreal.
Well,
yes,
I think it was Sunday morning, because people kind of know what we look like now, which is odd.
Weird.
Because I love the anonymity of voice acting, but
not anymore.
Not anymore.
They found their Waldo.
I was at breakfast with a friend, and we were leaving, and somebody had an Overwatch shirt just walking down the street, and it was a young girl with her family, and just did a quick buzz by. And was like, I like your shirt, my friend. And just kept going. And all of a sudden, there's a scream. And she just starts crying. She turns around. And I think she had just gotten there at the convention. And her mother was like, well, you can go home now, right? And she was so happy. I'm like, well, let's take a picture. I'll do a couple lines here. And it's just those moments that you, because you're like, I'm getting this private moment with someone to share that joy on a really intimate level.
And there is a solid connection for all Overwatch fans, because I was walking from, I think it was when we had lunch, actually, Darin, and I was wearing my Anna shirt with you. We went to that Thai place with Deborah, And
Oh, yeah.
I was walking back to my car in that Anna shirt that I had on, and there was a girl in a car, just her mom was driving, she was in the passenger side front seat. She looked at me, she saw the Anna shirt, and she put both hands on the glass and was like, Anna, just look for my shirt, just the shirt, right? I'm nobody, just the shirt. And I'm like, yeah, Anna. And we bonded in that moment. You know, she didn't roll down the window, but we're like looking at each other, we're like, Overwatch, yeah, Overwatch forever. Like that was a moment. Little did she know that I just came from lunch with Reinhardt. You know what I mean?
Aww.
Like that was an amazing moment. I thought, wow, this is some powerful, unifying universe stuff.
That's awesome.
Well, hopefully one day we can be in the same booth recording together.
All of
since
us.
we do
Let's
everything
visualize.
separately. And
know.
I missed the big party last year after BlizzCon when everyone was at the.
we missed you.
I know you got on the phone and wished me happy birthday. It was my birthday. We went home to vote. It was November 7th. And they called me and everybody sang. And then, of course, Keith got on and was being so kind. And I was tearing up going, these are the nicest people ever. So that's the Overwatch cast and everybody at Blizzard. They treat us so special. And it's really a joy and an honor to be part of it. So tell me more about that day. I wasn't there. And I think our listeners might be interested. What happened, Keith?
Give Darin a wrap up. We did cover this in Keith's podcast, but no, you don't know. We got to talk about it because Keith might remember some different stuff, though.
Yeah.
Do it, Keith.
Hey, you don't know what happened. You guys don't know what happened. You weren't there.
Right.
You just got to think of what I
That's
say.
right.
I don't know what
Keith.
happened.
What happened? I don't know what happened.
Can you
Give me
please
the
tell-
lowdown. Keith, tell me what happened at
We
this
wanna know.
so-called meetup.
Hey, I like that. I got the higher guy, right? And you got the big, meatball guy. Together we could be like
great, and I'll just be this girl.
Welcome to Watch Over. This is the
Watch
new
Over.
game, Watch Over.
Hey,
I'm gonna be that little kid
it's
just
called
with the
Overwatch.
popcorn, just looking
You
at
got
you
it
guys
backwards
and
again,
popcorn.
meatball. Come on. Watch over. What are you doing? Your dyslexia. It's taking over you. Come on. Overwatch. Everybody knows it's Overwatch.
I know it's Overwatch. I'm creating a new project for you and me, Sonny. It's gonna be special. You and me and this gorgeous dame. We're gonna do
thank
it.
you. I
gonna be called
appreciate
Watch-
you.
Thank you.
I
And
love it.
scene. That was a scene
And
from
scene.
Watch Over the
Watch
Music.
over the musical.
Watch him.
That was a scene from my new video game, Murder Flank.
and you'll be playing Flank.
Yes.
It's gonna be a bestseller.
Yeah, I'm in.
It'd be amazing.
So
Um,
what happened? What happened at the wonderful meetup?
Well, a lot of people think that, because I get this all the time, people think that was BlizzCon, and it wasn't BlizzCon. It was down in Irvine at the Blizzard campus, which is a beautiful campus.
Right.
We all met there,
Matt talked about
started
that.
bumping into each other right outside. There's a big statue, and they brought us immediately into a theater that they have, and we got to meet a bunch of the developers of the game that we hadn't met all of them. We'd met some of them while recording, and meet a lot of the other cast members. It wasn't everyone. There are probably, well, you guys have, lots of people have seen the photos and stuff. There's probably 15 of us there. And we watched every cinematic in their beautiful theater that they have on
Oh.
campus there.
You're so
I've not seen
Uh,
that theater. I want to see it.
Yeah,
Me
it's beautiful. So we
too.
watched everything. We chatted a little. Then they took us on a tour, and we met all the developers. So we actually got to meet the people who designed our characters.
So cool.
Yeah, and it was so cool because, like, I mean, I geek out about that. I mean, because that's amazing to me that somebody
Right.
like spent all that time and created
What a gift.
all of them. But Torbjorn specifically for me, and just imagine that everything
Wow.
came together, and then I got to voice the character, and it's just it blows me away.
That's so
Um,
freaking cool, man. That's a mind blower.
Did I tell the story about Carissa, Erin? Did I talk about Carissa before?
You're
a
going
friend
to
of mine
have to
who was
try
a-
again.
Carissa is a cosplayer that I met when I first got here. A big Blizzard fan, and she lives in Irvine and was having just a hard luck getting a job, and she was trying and applying everywhere. And she'd applied, beautiful artist, beautiful cosplayer, and just does amazing work. And she kept applying. And make a long story short, she got a job at Blizzard being the quality assurance for Reinhardt.
Oh,
And-
no, you never
What?
told me this story.
Oh,
I love that
yeah.
you saved it. Thank you.
I
amazing.
loved that. It was like that Reinhardt, being friends first, and then she goes and gets his job. So I could never believe it.
Oh.
And now she has her dream job working at Blizzard, and it started with Reinhardt.
Oh, I see. It's the love, man. The love manifests magic and dreams.
Yeah, and
it's real.
I love how it all comes full circle too. I
Yeah.
love that.
Exactly.
That's pretty
Danielle,
crazy.
totally.
That is wild.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so excited to see what the next year unfolds, how it's gonna happen. I mean, I mean, I still have my Santa skin on my Torbjorn because it's Christmas all year with Torbjorn. I did give him his Uprising skin during Uprising because it was super
Sure.
cute, but went back to Santa Claus immediately because gorgeous. So I'm very excited for Halloween and Christmas events again. I'm hoping they're new and fresh. I'm hoping it's something different, but even if it was the same thing again, I would so be down. Seriously.
I'd be happy to play it again.
Yeah, I'm really
Well, they did
sad.
just announce Lucio Bowl, did they not?
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be for next week, Lucio Ball, and they're gonna add a few
Which
more
will
skins.
be last week if we air this on the 20th.
Yes.
Like we
Right,
planned.
right.
Mysterious
This is in the
Lucio
past.
Bowl. Did they have Lucio Bowl before? Was that the
They
soccer
did.
one? Okay, so they're
Yeah.
so we're at a recycle point with these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well
Yeah, they'll
that's
have,
good
like, 2
because
stages, I think,
Mayhem
for
is
this
my
one.
shizzle, and they took Mayhem away from me, and that makes me sad because I'm like, why did you take Mayhem away from me? I really like Mayhem. That's the only way I can play with Winston. Okay. We'll
Yeah,
get
it'll be
there.
interesting to see when they recycle stuff to see if there's, because I don't know, but if there's going to be changes or whether it's going to be,
Yeah, like
if
the
they bring
updates.
back the Halloween, if it's going to be the same or
Right,
they add
right.
stuff. I have no idea. Maybe they held back stuff from last time. I mean, you know what I mean?
It's true,
Rem-
and if they don't have to make new stuff, if they recycle the old stuff, that means that they can make new ones for other parts of the year, which would be super
Right.
fun. And I would like, because they didn't do a Valentine's Day thing, I would have loved if they had a Valentine's Day thing. I was really
Ooh.
hoping.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
all
With
the
everybody shipping all the characters. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy. Yeah, people would love that.
The dream lives on, man. The dream lives on.
Ooh,
It's
I
a
got an
world of
idea. I got an
possibility.
idea for a character.
Ooh, what? Who? What? When?
What about we got characters that fly and are on the ground. What about a character that utilizes the walls? That can climb up
Ooh.
walls
Well, that's
somehow.
what
Like
Lucio
literally.
does. Well, so
but, like,
Genji
stick?
climbs up walls. Lucio
Can he-
climbs up walls. Yeah,
Can Genji stick on a wall or just climb over it real quickly?
he climbs over them. Oh, you mean
I'm
stick
talking
on
about,
a
like-
wall? Oh,
I'm
We
just-
don't
talking
have
about,
any
like,
stickers
stopping
yet. We don't have
halfway
any
up,
stickers
like-
yet. But that'd be
Okay.
cool.
Spider-Man.
okay,
You know,
okay,
just
yeah,
stick
yeah.
the wall, either on your feet, your hands, and your feet, however they want to do it. But just someone that can run up and down the walls and stop midway
Whoa.
and kind of get to a new target. Like, oh, they're not all the way in the sky. They're not on the ground. They're on that side of that building.
Oh my
Oh,
Blizzard.
I feel like that
Blizzard,
might be
please
really
listen
good.
to this.
Yeah, I feel like that could really help combat Doomfist. That could be really helpful at maybe making him less murdery. That would be okay. So if I'm gonna have to create a character, if I'm gonna make a character for Overwatch, I'm gonna do it for purely selfish purposes. I'm gonna say a Canadian, some wild Canadian girl who is
Okay.
spectacular at snowshoeing. and eating poutine, and she throws maple syrup as a weapon out of a gun, so it's very sticky. I'm just suggesting maybe with a beaver on her back because she builds stuff with beavers. I don't know. I just want a job, man. Like that's just Danielle. Your turn. Best character. New
Oh,
Overwatch
gosh.
character.
Oh, I don't even know. Like, there's too many really good ones already.
I know they really are, aren't they?
I can't even think. I love the surprises.
So good.
I'd love like a lot more characters.
If you
I'd love
could
a
play
sticker.
an
I like
Overwatch
Keith's
character-
idea.
If you could play an Overwatch character, what would your Overwatch character that you became be? Who would she be? Or he? You never know. Could be a young guy.
I wanted to have like a camouflage. We have that with Sombra, but well, she can camouflage temporarily. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they can make a
They
camouflage
can do everything.
character.
It is magical. It is Blizzard Land.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think right
Well,
now.
we'll get back to you at another podcast with that one because I think I blew
Yes.
your mind with that question because
I'm still thinking about the
because we're so
sticker.
busy playing it, we don't think about really being in it as much. We're like, no, I can't. I don't know how that would mess up my gameplay, man. I know too much from a different side. I don't know if I would like that. I really enjoy the gameplay and the surprise. I like that the surprises are legit surprises. That makes me so excited.
Yeah.
I haven't
like
enjoyed
Christmas.
They're
anything
surprises. They're surprises for us too. I mean,
Are
we
there?
only know. Sometimes we go in and record and we learn a little bit about something coming up, but
right.
they don't tell us everything. So we're
Thank
just
goodness.
as surprised.
Yeah, I remember when I was recording stuff about Anna, there were lines to Anna, and I just asked, well, who's Anna? And they sort of, shrugged their shoulders. And I'm like, okay, I'll just, commit to it, and I'll say it, a bunch of different ways, and they'll pick the way they like it.
Right.
And they revealed who it was. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But you don't know.
I love
And
that they don't
I
tell you.
love that. I love that it can be a world of possibility. And that there's mystery to it, even for us. We don't have to have everything explained to us. As actors, there can be mystery, and
They
we
just
can
need
play
to get your emotion there. They don't have to talk about what's actually happening in the scene. They just have to get you as an actor to that emotional place so that you play it out, which is brilliant. And keeping you in the dark is brilliant too, so then you can make your public appearances, be on podcasts, and I legitimately don't know anything, which is so much more helpful than accidentally going, oh, that wasn't out yet. There's so many games where stuff slips out because they give you way too much information in the record, and you didn't need to tell me everything. I just needed to know, what did I need to feel in this moment. That's all I needed. I didn't need a background of 37 characters and 400 years of history. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we don't know much, and what's interesting about that is because the game is so huge and has obviously changed all of our lives so much.
Right.
The fact that we can get another expansion out or something, and suddenly I can learn all kinds of new things about Torbjorn that I had no idea about is really fun. Just to have to roll with that and be like,
nice expansion.
It's going to make sense, but it just blows me away. I think at the expo, Michael Chu mentioned that the comic book image where I'm around all the kids. I'm with Reinhardt.
Yes.
He said publicly that those are all my grandchildren, and that hadn't been out there. That hadn't been out there before. He said it at the panel, so there were a lot of people there, so that can't be a secret at this point.
Right, exactly.
But I didn't know that, and it'll just be interesting when we learn new things about our characters, especially ones that kind of shift a little bit, what's going on in the story and how we react to either new characters or older characters.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they need to give us more information on Soldier 76. I feel like there's a lot of potential information there that they just really haven't dived. I don't know what the right...
Dived. It's dived.
Dived.
No,
They have not dived in to Soldier 76 enough for me right now. He's such an interesting character, and I feel like Anna and him, and I want more. I guess, let's just be real. I want more with everybody, except for I don't need any more with Genji. Oh my gosh.
What?
Oh my gosh, I have
Why did
to
you
tell
say
you
that?
what happened. So Danielle and I, we're playing Overwatch, and you all know who are listening to this podcast. My biggest arch nemesis in this game has been May. For an entire year, I have brought the salt to melt the ice of May all year. We call her a Dora troll. She's adorable, but she's a troll. I have not enjoyed her, not once, not ever. People have tried to convince me. She's a lot of people's wife.
Embrace the May love.
Everybody, I'm like, Danielle even started playing her against my wishes of, how could you? It felt like a betrayal. Well, Doomfist got launched, and I was playing with Danielle and a coworker, and the coworker was playing as May, and he is a decent May, but the words, "Thank you, May. Oh my God, May, you saved my life. I love you, May," came out of my face.
Yeah.
She was the only thing between Doomfist and my death. I can't even believe it. It was insane. Danielle was like, "What? What did you just say? Did you say that?"
For a whole year, I was like, okay, I never heard her say this. And when she said it, I'm like, okay, who is this person? I feel like I don't even know.
See, so the truth, that's a major dynamic shift. I hated May. Hated her character because she always pissed me off. Always, always, always. not the character herself, but the way that people play the character was driving me crazy. And a year later, all of a sudden, her purpose was like a moment for me where I'm like, oh, now she makes so much sense.
Oh my God.
I will never live again if I don't have a May on my team. Like, that is insane. Like, that just shifted my entire Overwatch reality.
That is scary.
Did you go straight from hate to love? There was no in-between ground there?
Yes,
From hate
exactly.
to love. There was no in between. I was so tired of getting the Doomfist punch to my face and death immediately. So I would come out of spawn, Doomfist would target me, kill me, and then I'd have to respawn. So I would get nothing done as a healer. Absolutely nothing. And the salt was real. And then May showed up, played by Chris, and he just kept putting up the wall before Doomfist could punch me, and I would live. And that's how I felt as Zenyatta behind Reinhardt's shield when I first started the game a year ago. And I kept dying as Zenyatta because I'm not a first-person shooter person, and I would die all the time. And then Reinhardt would magically appear, played by Sonic Man, and he would just shield me, and I would stay alive. And I kept saying, I love you, Reinhardt. I love you. I love you, Reinhardt. I love you. This is what's happening now with May. It is the weirdest reality.
A complete shift.
Quantum reality.
Doomfist brought you closer together.
Oh my
Doomfist brought me to understand the existence of May.
More than that. You said you loved her.
I did,
You
but in the gameplay, not right
May.
now.
You embraced her.
I'm just saying, in the gameplay, I said it. Those words came out of my face, but I'm balanced right now.
I see.
You've heard
Okay,
it first,
all right.
people. You've
In
heard
the
it
heat
first.
of battle, friend. In the heat of battle.
Yeah, I see what you did. You did that thing where you said I love you too soon, and now you're kind of regretting it. You went a little far. You're like accidentally like, oh my God, I love you.
I feel like I've got a tsundere here a little bit. Like, not like we're friends or anything. I don't even care that much. She's nice and everything, but we're not friends. I mean, she did help me live and everything, but yeah, exactly.
You know what? You should write a letter to May about how you said I love you and to try to pull that back a little bit. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I feel
It's
like
Elise, right? That's Elise.
Yes.
She's so nice.
It's going to be crazy if we ever have her on the show, because now I never thought we could, because the salt was too real. I'm like, I can't bring an actor on the show when I've talked so much
now we need
trash
to bring
about
her on
her
the show.
character. And now I'm like, oh no, the door is actually open now. Like, it is actually possible that I would have very kind things to say about her character.
Oh, she's very sweet.
I know.
And Elise was my mother's name, so I'm immediately drawn to someone named Elise. So, and you got to meet her on campus, right, Keith?
Yes, she was very sweet indeed. Absolutely, everyone was.
Well,
God,
she's
she was
very sweet in the
she
game
was kind of
until
adorable.
she kills you.
She was very adorable for sure.
It was interesting at BlizzCon because the last year we didn't know who was coming until they wandered in.
Doesn't she
And
live
I got
overseas?
there early. Yes, she's in China.
Yeah, that's badass.
And I think it was me and Fred for a bit, just
love
sitting
that.
there and talking to people. And then Elise walked in and Carolina walked in and slowly everybody gathered, but it was just the four of us for a while. And lovely talking and meeting everyone and just going, wow, I wonder if people like what we do. Because I think BlizzCon really was a turning point last. People liked the game, and then just all of a sudden the love meter went to 11.
But remember a year ago when I said, Darin, your game is gonna be so huge, and you're like, oh, Erin, you're just a silly girl. What? Well, you didn't say that, but you know what I mean. You're like, oh, thank you, and you're the tsundere. You're just like, oh, that's crazy. It's nice to be. I'm just happy to be hired. But I'm like, dude, no, I'm addicted to this game. This doesn't happen in my universe.
Well, you always hope that something you love doing will strike at someone's heart and really change them and move them. And, sometimes it does, and there are times that it does not. We were talking, I was on Critical Role, and then we did the Talks Machina, which is sort of the Talking Dead of Critical Role. And I was mentioning a play called Title of Show. And the last song in Title of Show is called 9 People's Favorite Thing. And the basic lyrics are, I'd rather be 9 people's favorite thing than 100 people's 9th favorite thing.
Wow.
It was like, I just want to mean something, so much
somebody.
to a certain, even if 9 people love it,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
going to be great.
Yeah.
And now, whoever expected it to just catch on in this way?
Yeah, Darin, I think we got at least 10 people who it's their
Maybe
favorite
10.
thing.
You
I
might.
think
I think at least 10. So you've beaten that.
I didn't expect it. I thought people would like it. I did not expect
No,
the
it's
love.
true. I expected like when I did Ural on World of Warcraft, the hype for her was really, really huge, and I've got some really great fans. But I for some reason with the hype, I thought, oh, maybe it's going to be bigger than I think it is, and it wasn't. It wasn't as popular as everybody was projecting. And I thought, oh, okay, but I've got good fans out of it, and I got to meet you, and I got to be, it was my kind of induction into the Blizzard family. But you just don't know. You have no idea when something's going to hit or not. Like, get really big, you don't know.
Oh, no, there's no way to know. And I don't know. I don't know. I've been doing it at least long enough. Like, I think when I was early in my career, I used to get excited. Oh man, this is going to be huge. This is going to be the
change
thing.
my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And, when you're green, and and that just doesn't happen. I'm sure for some people, the first couple things they
Maybe,
do, that
yeah.
happens. But I mean, for me, it definitely didn't, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just, even with this, I didn't think that at all. I know Blizzard does quality stuff, and I was like, I know it'll be a good game.
Yeah.
But the game wasn't even in beta yet when I recorded, so it was kind of like, well, I mean, they may not use this character.
Right.
They may
You
recast.
never know. Yeah.
They may not release the game. They may, you never know.
Did you
So,
were you worried about recasting because of the accent? Were you panicked about that? Because you're amazing at that, but I can't imagine how stressful that was.
Thank you. No, it wasn't that. It was just a matter of not knowing anything. You don't know anything about the game, so
Right.
I know that they
Yeah.
had scrapped another huge project, which kind of became Overwatch.
Yeah.
So I know that if Blizzard's working on something and they're like, it's 80% of what we want, they're gonna scrap it
Right. Start
and
from
save
scratch.
whatever parts they can,
Right.
and make something that they're 100% behind. So it was just kind of the not knowing.
Blizzard is like
and-
the Pixar of games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
was
that's a
worried
good
when we
comparison.
when it was first announced at BlizzCon a couple years ago. A friend of mine invited me. It was my first BlizzCon. It was on my birthday again, and they did that first cinematic trailer, and I'm like, I think
Oh,
I'm.
that was the one when I was on the
this.
panel for Ural for World
Yeah.
of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Because I was standing next to Matt Mercer. We were watching the trailer, and Matt didn't know that he was going to be in the game. He was watching it, going, "I
Well,
would
it
really
hadn't
like to
happened
be
yet.
in that game." Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And Crispin told us in the podcast we just did with him that was the first time that he didn't know what he had done all of this content as Winston. Because his was like the main character early on, so he had all that intro. He didn't know what it was for, and so he was standing with us in the backstage before we went on to the BlizzCon panel, and he saw the trailer for the first time there, and I was standing next to him at that moment too, and he realized that he didn't say anything out loud. I didn't know. It all went on internally for him, but he realized, he's like, I play a gorilla. That's a gorilla. Maybe that's me.
That's what I thought. I didn't know. And then they went to the gameplay trailer, and all the characters were introduced. And, I didn't hear my voice. I didn't see me. And I'm like, maybe he got pushed back. And then Reinhardt came around the corner last and finished off the thing. And that moment, you're just like, well, it's my birthday, and it's the first BlizzCon, and this is crazy.
There you are.
Yeah, and that's when I first saw what he looked like. 'Cause
I love
don't.
it. Oh my god, that's amazing.
I'd seen like there was a sketch with the helmet off, so I hadn't really seen the helmet.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is truly spectacular.
Wow.
It was a good birthday present, and it continues to go on.
Oh my god,
And I didn't
so
know that you were on.
amazing.
Keith, I did not know that you did it at that point. I don't think we knew for a while.
I don't think any
No.
of you knew each other, or
No, I
because
think
they
we
didn't
were all
tell
being
you
secret.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything was so locked down. That was super.
Because I was
exciting
working on
to
it.
hear.
I was doing an animated show for Amazon with Johnny Cruz, and he had mentioned,
Oh, right.
I just started doing this game
He
called
plays
Overwatch.
Lucio, guys, just in case.
Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
a podcast.
And I was
with
like,
him.
oh, I'm on Overwatch. That's great. Welcome to, and then little by little, we found out who the
What a
were.
big deal it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
But
great
do you
to
see
meet
how the
her.
universe put all the coincidences are kind of spectacular, from like just watching how all the ties all kind of link. It's all the setup. Like the universe's setup is better than any setup anybody could ever create. It's so beautiful. I love it.
Well, at that BlizzCon, I mean, Matt walked by me, and we'd worked together a couple of times, and he was like, "Oh, I want to be in that. You're in that. I really want to do that."
Yes.
And I think the next character was Soldier, and then it was McRae, and you're like, "Oh, he got in it." So.
Yeah, he didn't know at that time. He had no idea.
Yeah,
he didn't know he was going to book it, or he didn't know that
I don't
that
think
was
that
his
character had been auditioned yet because.
No, I think he auditioned. It's in the podcast with him, but I think he said he auditioned the week after. It was the week after that he had.
Because they would still send me stuff. They would still send me stuff to audition for Soldier and for McRae, and I go, I'm good. I like who I got. You know, because they just like, well, let's hear your read on this, and sometimes they'll bring you in, or sometimes it's
That's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't need to do anybody else. I like him.
Oh, it's your dad. We love that it's your dad.
I know everyone's sort of I haven't been asked this yet, but I'll hear from other performers that at the convention they'll go, you know, like, what's your favorite skin, or what other character would you want to voice? And I'm sort of like, at my age, I'm just more worried about my cholesterol. You know, I gave up cookies and muffins for a year. So it's like, if I see a cookie, I go, I'm not going to do that. So Reinhardt, I love doing cookies. I don't love so much anymore. That's
why we only have poutine once a year. I get it.
Oh, I don't think I could ever do that again. Oh my gosh. When did we do this last year, right?
It was last
that was
year.
So
it was
good.
for my birthday. You guys, we came out for my birthday and we did poutine in Hollywood. It was so dirty. 3,000 calories easy.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Dirty. Thank you for doing that for me. Well, at least we did it once. I'll take it.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
We'll do Thanksgiving if you're in town. It'll be fun.
Of course, We got to do it,
Eh? Well, it just won't be. It won't be Canadian Thanksgiving because that's in October, though.
Well, true.
Hoser.
Have you ever voiced a Canadian character, Keith?
Have I?
Yeah.
I don't think I have voiced a Canadian character. No.
What? That's
I know.
crazy. I literally just voiced one for Cartoon Network. It was kind of like a beautiful homecoming for me because I haven't been on Cartoon Network since Ed, Edd and Eddy got wrapped up in 2007, and then my first time back to to being on Cartoon Network was playing a Canadian. I was like, this is so much win. It's so
That's
good.
awesome.
Isn't that funny? Love it.
I think I know what that was.
Don't talk. We don't know.
I will.
Were you in it? Because that would be amazing.
No. I saw those auditions and I went,
okay.
I'm not going to audition for it because there are some phenomenal Canadian artists in town. And
yeah, I don't think I think I was the only Canadian hired.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure the others aren't Canadian.
Interesting.
Which made it fun. So, but I got to go in first though. So you're welcome, everybody in the universe. You'll know when you hear it. Okay.
Well, I can't wait. I want to hear it.
Okay. Well, I kind of just gave you a sample because it's basically my mom. So my Auntie Kay, my mom, all mixed together. Eh? Yeah.
Well, there's so many strong women in Overwatch. Maybe there'll be a Canadian one day, or
maybe one day. I feel like that would just like there'd be no. But if they have May as a character, I just don't know what a Canadian character would. It might be a Canadian guy, because then you could do like an RCMP thing. But I really don't know. Like, I feel like, it would be even way cooler if it was like a First Nations Canadian character. That would be cool. And then I would be inappropriate to cast, but that would be really cool.
Well, they're certainly spreading their net very, very wide with in response, in regard to characters.
So
that's
really
what I love. It's so
I
thrilling.
Do too. It is, and the cultures and and just getting to hear all the accents. Everybody is so sexy. It's like not in a sexual sexy way, but just sexy in like, we don't get enough multiculturalism in our content, and it's so refreshing and inspiring, and it makes me want to travel. I love that.
And there's a big art book coming, I think, this year from Dark Horse that I want so much.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I'm like, I need it today.
Me too. I'm just a big fan. I'm just like, I'm buying that. I'm totally buying that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Early concept drawings that we had never seen. I don't know if they're in there, but you're like, that would be amazing.
Oh, we're in.
That would be.
Pre-orders now. I hope it's before Christmas. That would be on my
that would be smart.
on my Christmas list. Just saying.
If it's supposed,
Dark
yeah, it's
Horse,
got to be
if
before
you're
Christmas,
listening.
right?
Yeah.
I
That's how you
think
sell
so.
that stuff.
That's,
I think it's October. I think it's October.
Ooh,
I could
that'd
be
a
wrong.
win. That would be a good win.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know if I'm right or not.
But if it came out in October, that's lots of months for people to save money and be able to order it for Christmas. So that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Exactly.
So I mean, the world is expanding. The characters are. There's no limit to what they can create.
No.
And
Yeah.
I think just all of us are fans as well as being in it. And we look forward to who's going to be joining us next, what worlds we'll be exploring, what different, if there will be more animation, if there'll be more comics,
Yes.
I hope
we love
so.
it. Yeah.
I'm also excited to see, like, 1 year with this podcast. Who in a million years would have thought we would have done this podcast for a year? And all the people
Yeah.
we were able to talk to that we don't know, that we were there. We've got so many characters that we still can interview, and we are working on it, guys who are listening. There's lots of people that
yes.
we're reaching out to. So
Ooh.
we generally don't try to force it. We let things happen organically and in the right time, which seems to work out beautifully. And I'm excited to see where this podcast goes in a year. I mean, it's on so many different platforms to listen to, from YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. We have a Twitter. So I really have no clue how many people actually subscribe to this and the website itself. Like, I have no sense of how big our audience is at all. We have a Twitter handle at Waifus of Overwatch, WAIFUS of Overwatch, but there's only 500 followers on the Twitter, but some of the podcasts have thousands and thousands of listens on the different platforms. So I'm like, I don't understand where our show is and who's listening to it. So guys, if you can reach out to us, that would be really good, because I think we need to
That'd be
find
awesome.
out. I want to know who's listening. Who are you? We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page. If there's comments on the website, feel free to comment on the website. This year we want more fan interaction so that we can find out, more about you guys who are listening. And thank you. Thank you for listening for a whole year. I can't believe we've had people listen to this cast for a whole year. And thank you, Tick, for starting the Fanimations. We actually put all of his Fanimation on the website now. We're so excited that he just volunteered to just fanimate these podcasts in the most brilliantly silly little short ways. We've been so blessed with that. I'm excited for more of whatever this is becoming, and we're not kind of putting any labels on it. We're just letting it grow organically. But wow, well done, Danielle. Good.
Well done. Good, Erin. Good.
I can't believe it. Darin De Paul, Reinhardt, Keith
I'm Darin.
Silverstein, Torbjorn. Would you guys do us the honor, before we end this podcast, would you do us the honor of talking to each other as your characters?
I don't
Yes,
know if
please.
we could do that, actually.
Oh.
You know what
Oh.
we could do? Well, I don't know if you know the lines.
I don't want
but,
you to get in trouble.
Very good. I sometimes wonder if all that armor slows your brain down.
Of course not, my friend. I'm too old for this.
I love it.
Well done,
A
well
little short
done.
thing.
Yes.
It's hard. It gets, because we don't know what lines will be used, and we're always like,
Right.
we're getting protective of what we
No,
have
and you need
say.
to be, because you don't want to be fired.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you to get in trouble or be
Oh, yeah,
fired.
yeah.
No.
And I
no.
know everybody's like, can you say this? Can you say that? We're like, well, we can't right now, but
Oh, that's
Maybe-
good. So fans who are listening, don't tell the actors what lines to say. If you want them to do a sound for you, let them come up with something that they know is safe, that's not going to get them fired, and don't record it and put it all over the internet.
Yes.
Like, if they're doing you the gift of performing that line for you, that's just a gift for you. It's not meant to be recorded and blasted all over the internet. That's just a private kind of moment. I find that a lot of actors, not just in Overwatch, but in general, just as a professional in the industry, we get in trouble, man. Like, we get in trouble when people ask us to do them a favor, and then in the moment we feel like, oh, of course I'll do that for you, and then we do it, and then the fan blasts it everywhere, and then the company's like, yeah, no, this is an official warning. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
well, we understand that people are excited.
Yeah.
And they love that this special thing happened for them. But yeah, it's supposed to be private, and that's why I sort of You know, it's like I can't really do that. You know, I can't do videos. I can't do that. You know, it's just
You gotta
going
be
by the
safe.
rules.
Yeah,
You got to go by the rules. Like,
rules.
I'm happy
Yeah.
to talk to you as Darin. Reinhardt is for the game. That's the
Yeah.
special connection that you should have for the game. Or, you know, I can whisper a line to your ear, but, you know, recording it, that's a Blizzard thing. That's what we do in the booth.
Yeah.
And it should be, that's the relationship you want to have. You
But,
want to
like,
enjoy
are you guys
the
allowed
character.
to do this the signature line? Like in all the games that I'm in, I've been allowed to say the signature lines. I like for Chie, I get to say 2 lines for sure, no problem. You know that I'm not getting into trouble.
Well, I figure as long as we're quoting an actual line verbatim from the game
That's
for
released.
someone.
That's been out for a while.
Yeah, well, because you can go on YouTube and you can get all the lines separated. So,
That's
I
true.
mean, I don't know why you would get it from me on your phone. You know what I mean? To use it to animate to it or use it in some way when you could just do that online anyway and get
Yeah,
a
get it
perfect
from
recording
YouTube.
of it.
Yeah.
But there is, I know we're getting into a weird area. There are people that will take the lines from the game and then animate them. And,
Right.
and it's like, thanks, but that's my work and that's the Blizzard design. And
Yeah.
you didn't ask us. And I mean, again, thank you for the compliment, but sort of no. Because there are people that'll do animations and then have
And
a
they'll
link
make money
to
from them. Yeah,
Yeah, and
they're monetizing their stuff, and that's the interesting thing. Like this show is not monetized. The fanimations that are done are not monetized. This is all fan base, and when it's kept in a fan region, then you're avoiding. Then it's all just in that fan world. But once you monetize something that's based on somebody else's copyright, that's infringement.
Sure is, yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's
hard 'cause
amazing.
I know everybody's really excited now and wants to, you know, be a part of the world in some way.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful compliment, but sometimes it's just like, oh, you know, could you ask?
I like that. I'm glad we're talking about it because it is a sensitivity thing that we need to share because I think the general public really they don't know what we do and
They're just excited. They're
how
happy.
yeah, exactly. Can you guys share your social media so people, if they don't already know, silly
Keith,
rabbits.
where can people find you on the internet?
On Twitter, I'm at Silvertalkie, SILVERTALKIE. I'm just Keith Silverstein, plain and simple on Instagram, and I'm Keith Silverstein, voice artist on Facebook.
Thank you.
Well, gosh all heck, I'm Darin De Paul on Twitter and Darin De Paul on Instagram. And that's kind of it. I'm learning, again, with the cholesterol thing. I'm old. I try to respond to stuff, and it's like, wow, everyone's sending messages. There's not enough time.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
I try because everyone's so kind, and you want to answer everybody.
I know.
But sometimes
Well,
it's
now
like,
that you guys are getting swamped, it's a lot harder to answer everybody, for sure.
Hey, here's you know what's difficult is the when people private message you, because I don't check that often, and about 90% of the private messages I get from fans, there's no reason for it to be private.
Yes,
and
the
and I
private
find
"how
that-
are yous" drive me crazy. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have a private message conversation with you. I have a grown-up life. I have a grown-up job. I'm looking for messages from coworkers and employers and my close friends. Why would you private message me for a "how are you" conversation when I don't know you? You're a stranger. That's awkward to me.
I apologize. I thought it was.
Oh, Darin!
He
How
doesn't
are
know.
you?
He's too
you
old.
all this time.
It's Darin
I'm
every
worried
time.
about my cholesterol, Erin. How are you?
Anyway, that's
It's a
my
private
opinion.
message between you and me.
I mean, I don't know, Danielle. How do you feel about it?
I still feel really weird about it. Like, I still, because I came from a fan background before I did the whole voice acting thing, so
Right.
even just getting messages from people saying that you inspired me with this performance, I still get, like, I feel honored, but I feel, like, very, like, it's almost out of body, so I still don't know how to take that.
But they can post that like in a Twitter publicly. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
to
do
be
get
a
messages where
private
someone will
message.
say, like, hey, how are you, or hi, or the single hi messages, those always get to me.
Right.
like,
I'm
hi.
like, what am I supposed
Hi.
to do with
Hi.
that?
It's like,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like they're testing the water when they do those highs.
Oh,
like they're
maybe.
just
yeah.
like, is it
Oh,
going to
yeah.
work? I don't want to commit and sound silly. But it is weird because you could do that. There's no reason for it to be private. So unless you have a real private message that sometimes you read one and you go, okay, I get why you sent this as a private message, but most of the time it's like,
Well, if you're
you
going
know,
to send
how
me
did you
something
get
that's
the-
personal, shoot me an email. I mean, I love getting the fan mail emails.
well, they don't have for me, they don't have access to my email, but
Oh.
Is that a Facebook thing, the private messages, or?
At Facebook, and they have a
you can go on
direct
Twitter.
message option on Twitter. I bet you have a lot of them, and you've never seen them.
Oh my God.
It's like I hardly ever check Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
And sorry, Mr. Zuckerberg.
Instagram
but-
and Twitter both have private messaging areas.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Surprise,
that.
dear! I'll show you the next time I
Surprise.
see
Again, I'm too worried about.
He's gonna have like so
You-
many messages.
I'm
Yeah, he's
excited
gonna
to
have
go
fun.
through your messages. I'm so
my
excited.
goodness.
Oh
hundreds
my
of them
God.
backed up.
So
That's
now
like-
you know
Yeah.
if Darin didn't answer your message, you know why. He actually hasn't seen them.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
You
Yeah,
don't
hopefully
have
they
to
don't get
apologize.
angry
You
at
are
it.
the
Well,
busiest man
I-
in LA. You do not have to
I
apologize.
love seeing it, and I love seeing the art that people send, and just the lovely notes that people will send you. It's
But they
you
can
know.
do that publicly. Like, there's no reason to send
Yeah.
not to send that privately. And publicly is more fun because then you can share it and share their talent and their genius and their kind words, and that's always nice too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. 1 year. Here we are.
1
Well,
year.
we're gonna wrap this sucker up.
Woo!
I just
1
can't
year.
thank you guys
would you
enough.
say we're gonna put the hammer down on this
Oh.
interview?
Yes.
Yes.
Nailed
That
it.
wasn't even in the voice.
Nailed it. But
What?
that works for me. I don't mind. I mean, I could really just say, "How's your head?" and it goes in a
Oh.
whole other different.
I guess I would have to answer hammer down, which actually is not sequitur because it really did not follow what you said.
Not at
But
all.
I
It makes
thought-
me so happy on so many levels. Only the
I thought I got
insiders
that
will
in.
know. Only the insiders will know.
I just got that in there.
Oh, sometimes it's nice to
And,
give a
and
little
see
inside
you
joke.
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, I love you guys so much. You guys are just the best. Thank you all for making time. And I'm so excited to continue playing this game and doing this podcast. I have no idea what the next year brings. Thank you, everybody, for making Waifus of Overwatch your listening podcast entertainment. Danielle, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for supporting us and listening to our episodes and just sharing your kind words with every episode we put out. So thank you guys for all the love.
Yeah, and sharing
Really
it.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for sharing it and bringing
Yeah,
it
thank
out
you.
there.
They deserve it.
Yeah,
You guys
they-
deserve
Yes.
all that love. So
all
I'm
those
glad you're getting
retweets and everything, we thank you for that.
Word. We
Yeah,
love
you've been
you.
nothing but positive and supportive to us and the whole community, and it's a very, very loving community. I mean, the cast is a bunch of love balls anyway.
It is.
Yeah.
And
But
So
I feel
to know
that
that-
beautiful satisfaction of knowing when we did that first episode with you, I thought we're going to be the first podcast to interview these actors. And that's going to be a
Yes.
big deal later. Because I knew you
I
guys
hope-
were going to be huge, and we were the first podcast to interview an Overwatch actor because nobody knew but me. I knew. It was a secret. It was my own private knowing.
Ew.
I'm
And
kidding.
this is
Obviously,
nice,
that's not true.
anytime I get to spend with you guys is very special. There's not enough of you in my life.
Oh well, we're gonna do
Aw.
more of this. Somehow we're gonna squeeze you into other people's interviews. We'll be like, oh,
Yeah, oh.
sorry, Sar, but we're gonna actually have Darin in your interview just because we love him. You're welcome. That's
What if,
awesome.
what if you guys go 24/7 for the next year?
Oh my
27. Let's do a marathon.
Let's all go 24/7, starting right now.
What? Wait, but that would be fun if we could do like a marathon and then have all of the actors come through. But we'd have to get more of the actors on board. That would be a fun thing to think about. Okay, Keith, you have planted a little seed. Aren't you clever?
Yes, I am. You can count on me. Let me know when I need to come on through for that
Yeah.
marathon.
Yay!
I'll do
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Thank you,
this
Kill
is-
Silverstein.
Kill Silverstein.
It's a callback to the beginning
Yes!
of the
The
episode.
beginning. Hey, if you just
We've
joined
come
us,
so
you're missing all this callback.
Nailed
Yes.
it. Nailed it.
Yep.
Oh,
Murder,
this-
murder flank.
Murder.
Kill Silverstein and murder flank.
Hashtag Kill Silverstein. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Oh,
By the
golly.
way, don't kill someone.
Don't kill him.
No.
I mean,
Don't
he
do it.
plays enough bad guys that
a
die.
wonderful
It's okay. But and enough
Yeah, I mean, one last thing. I mean, I play mostly bad guys. What about you, Keith? I mean, Overwatch
plays
is
a
the one
lot.
where
I have been
I play a
Keith's
lot of bad guys, yeah.
minion for a lot of his bad guys a lot. So that lets you know just how many you play a lot of bad guys, Keith.
I just my daughter was watching Ladybug recently, the Princess Fragrance episode.
Yes.
Where I'm actually your love interest in that.
Oh, that's right. But you are my evil boss in Sailor Moon.
Wait, that's funny. I'm actually your evil boss and your love interest in that Miraculous.
See that?
I'm actually both, and they're two separate characters.
Wow,
I didn't even realize
this is getting really awkward very quickly. Just
Oh, we should have gotten there quick. Now it's the end. Now it's getting awkward. The end.
All right, this has been Waifus of Overwatch. I can't believe it. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, much love.